Hey guys, so I know I haven't done a blog post in a really long time. I'm sorry. And I'm really sorry I haven't done a video blog post, but I appreciate all you guys who have subscribed to me on YouTube. Despite my lack of videos, I still get subscribers, so thank you for subscribing. And thank you for those who read the blog and follow along and in my groups and everywhere. So today I'm already doing videos for one of my programs. An inbox question came up. And I wanted to answer it. Well, I answered it on the inbox, of course. But I also thought it was a really good question that it was worth hopping on video and taking some of the time on videotaping today and answering it here for everyone and dropping it on my YouTube channel so you guys can see. So the question that came up was about blogging. So I have a client who's in a couple of my programs who is starting a blog to go with her business. And I know I always preach blog. I've got the podcast episode, which I'll leave a link if you guys haven't seen the podcast episode. I'll put a link down in the show notes to talk about blogging and why you should blog for your boutique. I'm all for it. You definitely should blog for your boutique. You definitely should really blog for any business, even if you blog a little bit like I do. Even if you're not as consistent as you want to do, even if you do once a month or twice a month, still blog. The content is valuable. It gives you something to share with people, something to go viral. You know, I'm not going to give you the whole spiel. Just blog. So this spiel isn't about why you should blog. This spiel is about how to start blogging, which is something I never really brought up before. So I'm really glad I got this question. You know, everyone says blog, and then you go out and you look at blogs that are already blogging. No one tells you exactly how to get started or what to do to get started. So that's what I wanted to jump on and talk about, just some ways to get started and some things not to fall into. So the first thing we fall into, like I just talked about, was looking at other blogs. Yes, I want you to look at other blogs. Definitely look at other blogs. But don't get caught. Don't get caught looking at a blog today and looking at the content that they're giving out today and what they're doing today and thinking that's what you need to do or that's the best thing for you to do. And here's why I say don't get caught today. Don't get caught because most blogs that are popular and most blogs that you're looking at, most of those blogs are at least 2, 3, 4, some of them even more years old. Like someone in the group just this week posted something from the Curvy Fashionista, who I absolutely love. But I was following the Curvy Fashionista back in 2010, 2011, when I had another blog, my blog, Blogs for Color. I was, really big following Fashionista. But I say that to say that she's been at this for at least, about 6 or 7 years now. I mean, she was already big when I was following her. So she's probably been at this for at least almost 7, 8 years by now. So either way, she's been at this a while. So if you start looking at what she does today, the engagement she's getting today, the events that she's doing today, and say, that's what I want to do, like tomorrow, that's not going to help you. That's not really going to give you a good guide of what you need to do and what you need to do to get started. Because she's been doing this for so long, her blog is in its adult years, not even the teen. Just right up in its adult years. It's much more matured. She already has a following. So when she puts up something, it's going to explode, go viral, get a whole bunch of comments and everything on Facebook, and it's going to be on Instagram. It's going to be just everywhere because she is who she is and she's been doing it for so long. If she puts up something, an outfit and says, this is the outfit I'm wearing, or these are the fall trends, people are listening because of the popularity that she's already earned and gotten from them over the years. So I'm not saying you can't get that, but I'm saying you're not there now. And I think that's really important. A lot of people tell people where they're going to be at the end without telling them how to get there and kind of some of the steps. So one of the first things I told the person I was talking to in the inbox was to look at these blogs that you really follow and that you're really into. Go back and look at some of their first blog posts. Go back and see some of the things that they were addressing when they first started. The other thing is your first couple of blog posts, you want them to be as valuable as possible. So you want to go back and look at questions. I always go, Facebook groups and Pinterest are my top 2 places to do some research. The other one, my very top place, is keyword research. Look at keywords, what's trending, what are people talking about, what are people asking. Go into Pinterest and go into Facebook, especially Facebook groups, and just scroll through what are questions. Put fall in the search box and search and see what people, fall could be other things, so it's going to be a lot of search, but even put winter or holidays, and see what kind of questions people are asking and how you can incorporate your brand. So if you sell, let's say you sell scarves, for example, and you scroll through and you see that people are talking about, you know, what coat should they wear to fall? You know, it's been unseasonably warm this fall. It's, you know, what else did I talk about? Pumpkin spice and cider, apple cider, which is things that we talk about a lot in Jersey in the fall. You know, if they see people that are talking a lot about those, figure out how you can incorporate those with what you sell. So for scarves, if people are talking about how warm it is this fall, maybe you could talk about how to wear a scarf when you don't need a coat. Or, you know, how to incorporate scarf wear and not look too hot when the you know, in fall it's up to 70 degrees. It was 70 degrees yesterday. So it's in the 70s here in Jersey. So, which is completely unseasonable. Like literally last year, 2 years ago, we were wearing scarves and hats and coats and looking at snow around this time of year. So this is very unseasonable for us, which is a great thing to blog about, because people who've pulled out all their winter clothes, they're now sitting there like, because, you know, we put away all of our summer stuff, we pulled out our winter, now we've got to make it work because it's 70 degrees. That's something you can write about. If you see people talking about going to a holiday party or what should they wear for the holiday party, Halloween was a great thing last year. You know, you guys know I'm always for using holidays and different events to, you know, definitely increase your blog. But Halloween, if you put up something like, you know, Halloween costumes you can wear with your regular jewelry, and talk about some of the pieces that you have that would look good. Like if you may have like an Aztec looking piece that may look good with like a cute Cleopatra or you know, some type of traditional like Egyptian type costume, or you may have a lot of black jewelry that would go like be the trendy shadow for those who are doing like the whole all black and being the shadow. Like, so you can incorporate different things that you have into, you know, this blog post that's really about Halloween, but at the same time mentioning your products and your clothing. So all I say is to make sure that whatever you're talking about is really, really high value, really hitting a pain point. I know you hear service businesses talk about this all the time, about making sure you address a pain point. What's your person's pain point? And it's hard, especially when you're thinking fashion. In fashion, you're thinking, no one has any pain about fashion. What is people's fashion pain point? But that's not true. Even if it's something that people consider to be a little bit vain, they have a pain point. Like, for example, my pain point being a redhead. You guys see I got a new color recently. I love. But being a redhead, one of my pain points is I don't wear reds and I barely wear bright pinks. They really clash. They really clash and look really strange with my hair. So when I first get my hair colored, all my reds are out the door, because I'm like a really bright red right now. So if I'm wearing a red shirt, it looks a mess. And you can talk about that. What colors to wear with, you know, different hair colors. Getting your hair colored, what colors are going to look good and really make your new hair color pop. That's a pain point. It sounds real vain, but if I go through all this to get really nice hair color, I want to make it pop. So you could definitely tell me what else I can wear. I know what I can't wear, but what I can wear to make it pop. Or even you can do a combination. Wear black to make it pop, and black I really wouldn't wear that to make it pop, but purple does well with my hair sometimes. So wear purple to make it pop, and don't wear red to make it clash. You can talk about those type of things. That's a real pain point that people who color their hair have an issue with. I mean, it doesn't sound like it, but I'm telling you, it definitely is. And those are things you can get by just going into groups, talking to people, asking people. Also, ask questions in these groups. I used to, so those of you guys who have been following me since 2013, when I started Online Boutique Source, the first year and a half, I had a question box on the site. I don't recommend doing that, especially for a store, because it can be a bit of a nightmare. But I did have, but you can do it in Facebook groups. So what I'm saying is actual questions. So I had a question that said, you know, what are your biggest questions about starting an online boutique? And they said nothing but name, email, and the question. And name and email were optional, because I didn't want to build a list with this. It was not, and I even specifically the footnote said, you will not be added to my email sign up. I had email sign ups on the site too. That's a whole other story. But it said, you will not be added to my email sign up. I wanted people to know that this was not at all to get them on my list. I really wanted to know what some of their questions were. And what I did with those questions was, each of those questions, I went and either did a YouTube video or a blog post, or addressed it. I addressed it in some way. I did some content about it, and then I used that for content to build the site. Because I know if one person or two people are asking, have that question, most likely there's another 100 out there who have the same question. and I wanted to address that. And I didn't want to just go with what I think people are asking. I wanted to really see what people are asking me. Same thing I do in the Facebook group or even on my page. I'm always asking vote A, B, or C for this. I do that all the time. That is one of my best. They're also one of my most engaged posts, but it's also one of my best ways to get content and get ideas of what I should talk about. But I'm always asking, where are you at right now with your online boutique, A, B, or C? And you tell me you're at A, the very beginning, or you tell me you're at C, you're up and running, but you need more help with marketing. That tells me write things about being in the very beginning and write things about helping with marketing. So like this is one of the things about helping with marketing. So, I really use those questions, and they're not always long, lengthy surveys. I do a big survey like once or twice a year. And I'm going to tell you, when you do the surveys, so one thing, if you're thinking, I'll just do a big survey. When you do the surveys, don't do the survey in the very beginning. Don't do the survey until you have a bit of traffic and a bit of an audience. I didn't do a survey until my second year after I had like my first 1,000 people subscribed to my email list. Reason being is that people generally aren't going to just click on the link and answer the survey. They're going to think it's going to take too much time. It's going to be too much for me to do. So they're not going to do that. So I don't want you guys to waste your time. Ask 1 or 2 questions. Don't ask too frequently. Like, don't ask every week. Ask like once a month at the most. And just ask people what are they looking for, and just search. All of these groups have search boxes. You could spend all day in those search boxes searching the weather, searching the season like I talked about, searching just for when they say clothes or pants or skirt or something like that. I just had a big conversation in one of my mommy groups about a woman who doesn't like putting her son in brown. You can so talk about that. You can so do a whole post if you're doing kids clothing about great colors for clothes for kids to wear. Don't just put your kids in neutrals, put them in colors. You can do a whole bunch of blog posts about that just from looking at some of the feedback that the moms had in that group. So that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about, how to get started with your blog, how to come up with those first couple of blog post ideas, some of the things people never talk about. Look at the blogs that you follow, look at them in the beginning, and look at when they first started getting engagement. So you'll see in the beginning, most blogs were probably completely dead. Even if they do now have comments, it's because somebody went back and commented like a year later. But most of them are completely dead. You want to look at when they started to get a little bit of traction, when people started communicating with them and talking back to them and that type of thing. And you want to hone in on that for looking for how to start your blog and some of your next blog post ideas. I hope this helped you. Definitely leave me some feedback in the comments. Tell me some of the ideas that you may have about your first blog post. I'd love to hear. I'd love to give you guys some feedback. And I will see you on the next video for onlineboutiquestars.com. Thanks.